Hey, everybody. I'm up here in the top corner. My name is David Bradley. I am a sales and marketing manager with Grant Cardone. In the next couple minutes, we're going to take a deep dive into the 4 steps to create a great and powerful sales team. These are 4 actions you can start taking with your team right now to start producing immediate results in your production, whether that's sales volume or profitability. This in and of itself will even help you lower costs and expand your market share. So let's just get right into it. The first thing I want to do is introduce myself. That way you know who it is that's sharing this with you. My name's David Bradley. That's me down there with that beautiful lady. That happens to be my wife. We got married in 2004. Now, I got into sales in 2003 for one very specific reason, which is I wanted to marry that lady right there, and I wanted to have the ability to go up to her dad and ask for her hand, knowing I had a career in place that could sustain us and help us create a life that we deserve for each other. So in 2003, Grant Cardone's training took me from barely surviving as a sales guy to thriving in it. He also helped me based on just his example alone. I don't know how much of Grant's history you know, but Grant helped me get sober in 2007, just on his example. I hadn't even met him yet. But in 2011, I got this awesome opportunity to come work with Grant and help him launch Cardone University and give this amazing content to other people. This training doesn't just help make better salesmen, didn't make me a better salesman, it made me just a better man. So I consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to share it with people. Since 2011, I've had that honor and privilege to work with over 250 companies and about 5,000 salespeople. It's pretty awesome. So my mission then, based on that, is to help salespeople all over the world create real financial freedom for themselves and their families by delivering through our products and services the right mindset and attitude combined with a time-tested approach, and then take 10x levels of action so that they can create real financial freedom in their lives, create real success for themselves, and become better today than they were yesterday. So if you want to see your salespeople operating at full steam, at their full potential, then I want to partner with you. But before we start, I got a couple questions for you. First question, what do you expect from your salespeople and your managers? When you think about it, as a leader in your organization, what do you expect? And if you need to take a moment and start jotting these down and really come back later and answer these questions, please do so, okay? But think about it for a second. When was the last time you even thought about it? What do you expect from your managers and your sales people? Then you want to really ask yourself, what do your managers and salespeople need to be successful, right? Where are they getting this now? This is a very important question, because if somebody has a need, right, and they have a need to be successful, then they're going to do whatever they can to get what they need to do that, right? And if they're not getting it from you, where are they getting it, right? It's a good question, right? Here's another question. Do you want to see your people fail? Well, the answer typically is no, of course not, absolutely positively not. So if that's the case, right, you don't want to see your people fail, how are we helping them? Which leads me to my next question, which is, what has been your experience with sales training in the past? Most of the clients that I work with right now are coming onto our program after being on something else, and it didn't typically work out the way they wanted. Now, the purpose of sales training is to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to increase sales. If it doesn't, then something's out. Either how you're delivering the data is out, or the data itself is out, or maybe a combination of the two. So when you think about what you expect from them, when you think about what they need to be successful and where they're getting it now and how you want to see them succeed, and then your experiences in the past, the question I just want you to start thinking with now is what the ideal scene would be, right? So if you just imagine that it's 18 months later, I'm going to give you a formula in a second, okay? You've implemented the formula, you're using it, okay? Obviously, sales are up, right? So when you take a look around, what else is happening, right? What's going on in the company? What's going on in the culture? What are Google reviews looking like at this point? What's happening in the company, right? Think about that for a second. So you ready? Step 1 is accountability, okay? What do I mean? Hold every single member of your team accountable for self-improvement. Let's just talk about your team for a second. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that if you are employed in your company, to some degree, you are part of the sales team. If you are a customer-facing employee, regardless of what your business card says, regardless of what the name badge says, if you deal with customers every day, you are part of the sales team. Would you agree with that, right? And everybody over there is playing a vital role, because without sales, what do you got? We got chapter 7. That's what we got without sales. So, as Grant said in Sell or Be Sold, right? Companies are dependent upon sales to be solvent, right? It's not, what did Harvard say about the reason companies fail is they're undercapitalized? Well, the reality is they're failing to sell in quantities great enough and if profits or margins is great enough to sustain the company and keep it solvent. So every one of your salespeople, every one of your team members, every one of your employees is part of that sales team, right? So Grant says this about self-improvement. Your people are either getting better or they're getting worse. There is no static here, right? So a flat line means what? It means you're dead. Okay, so did you know? Here's some scary stats. 87% of salespeople, they miss their quota. 87%. 90% of salespeople have never read one book on sales. Coincidence? Probably not. Okay, now what? Average American reads one book a year. Okay, the average CEO reads 50 to 60. Again, not a coincidence. Okay, there's a huge gap in wage based on education. Okay, and education is very cheap. You go to the library. Okay, so step 1 is accountability. Hold your people accountable for getting better. This is what Andre Hernandez says. He's a client of ours. He says, thanks to Grant and 10X, I will not settle for anything other than the best for me and my crew. My business is thriving. We're getting ready to take on more employees. Okay. So Richard Branson said, you want to train people well enough so that they can leave, but you want to treat them well enough so they won't want to. So when you follow this formula and you get your people every single day getting better, creating wins, right? They ain't going anywhere. Okay. If I just reduce your turnover problem by you getting consistent with training your people and holding them accountable for getting better, you'll see a reduction in cost and an increase in sales. Okay. So step 2 is what? Step 2 is daily training. Okay. Grant says, hey, if it's worth doing once, it's worth doing every day. Okay. It takes 24 hours to get rusty. I disagree just a little bit. Okay. I say it takes a turkey Reuben to get rusty, right? You eat a big old sandwich midday, things sit in your belly, man, your brain goes out the window. Okay. You're not even there anymore. Okay. You need to be doing something every single day to stay sharp. Okay. So Grant also says that if you do push-ups once a week, just eat cookies. Okay. Going to the gym once a week does nothing but get you sore and a little pissed off. Okay. You go to the gym every single day, that's when you start seeing some real results. So if you're going to do daily training, it needs to be effective, obviously, right? So for daily training to be effective, it needs to be consistent, meaning not only is it done every single day, but maybe it's done at the exact same time every single day. Maybe we're working as a team on the exact same specific pieces of content. Maybe for a short period of time as a team, we're going to put all our attention on prospecting, or all our attention on taking an incoming call, or all our attention on closing a deal. It needs to be consistent, okay? It needs to be solutions oriented. So as I was just saying about putting attention on one specific issue, think about 1, maybe 2 things you need your team better at right now, that if they did, man, it'd make all the difference in the world. Okay. So we want to start working towards our training in a way that solves our problems. If I'm a sales guy and I have an appointment coming in and I know that this person's going to have an issue with, say, the monthly payment or the total price of the purchase or the term or what have you, would it make sense to warm up for that appointment by getting prepared and practicing closing that's based on that? So, but that's my problem. How am I going to close this deal, right? So I want to be solutions oriented. If I can't follow up with somebody and I don't know how to do that, that's my problem. I need to get a solution, okay? It needs to be easy to access, right? If something's hard to get to, nobody's going to do it. Right? Why? You'll lose. There's no motivation to do it if it's a pain in the butt to access it. Okay. Also, it needs to be trackable. If you want to see results, you need to track it. So if you go to the gym, for example, and you just sort of wing it, you may get a little bit, but if you track your sets and your reps and your entire process as you go work out, like how much weight are you using, how many reps you're doing, you know if you're getting stronger or not simply by tracking your progress. Okay. So step 2, daily training. Now, here's an example. After 1 month of 30 minutes of mandatory daily training, every single morning on a structured schedule, we saw 20% increase in individual order value. This is from Tyrese Pointer. He's a client of ours, 3D House and Homes, okay? If you think about that, do the math. If you were to increase your sales volume by 20% in the next 30 days. Do you have the inventory and the staff to support that? Okay. And would that be such a bad problem? Step 3 is the daily meeting. It's well documented, okay? Well documented that 70% of all employees are disengaged at their job, meaning 70% of your people right now, their body's at work, and that's about it. Okay, the rest of them somewhere else. Okay, this has become a mass epidemic, cost company billions of dollars in lost productivity and production. Okay, but wait, there's good news. It is also well documented that being in a positive frame of mind makes the brain work 31% better. That's from a Harvard Business Review, if you'd like me to source that out for you. Okay, so you want to do a daily sales meeting. The purpose of the daily sales meeting is to make sure that your employees, every single one of your people there, your sales team, not just there physically, right? But their brain is there and their heart's in it, right? They are at work, all of them, the whole thing. Okay, so the components of an effective daily meeting held at the exact same time every single day. So in our office, for example, we do a meeting every day at 9:05. Come hell or high water, at 9:05, we're having a powwow, okay? And we keep that meeting to around 20 minutes, okay? Because we all know, you probably know this too, you may already be doing what I'm about to say, but around 18 minutes, people start checking Twitter, okay? So I need to get in and out. We need to be quick. We also want to make sure that we use this time to get our attention on the purpose of the team that day. Like, what are we doing today? Why are we here? What's the mission? What's the goal? What's the plan, right? Just get our head on right, okay? Then we want to make sure that these meetings should be able to motivate people, should inspire people, remind them of what they're doing here. Maybe even, like, one of the things that we do in our meeting every day is we share a client testimonial. Somebody, a client of ours who's having huge successes on one of our programs, one of our products, okay? We do that every single day. That way everyone's reminded about, like, hey, we help people. Like, we do an amazing job here, right? That's motivating. It's inspiring, okay? And then also the fourth thing, it should provide actual education that positions the team to succeed. Okay, so you want to be delivering content that not only does it motivate, but it transfers skill, delivers education, makes it easier for somebody to do their job. So check this one out. Oops, sorry about that. Here we go. Yeah, okay. Ever since we started using the program, it's actually caused us to stop our regular advertising because we've become so busy in our stores that we can't even keep up with the customers some days. We watch the sales meetings every morning, and it keeps our sales staff motivated, and they get inspired when they watch. Grant, it has taken us to a whole new level, and this is definitely greatly due to using Grant's systems. Thank you. That's from Fred Isaac over at Furniture Discounters. So think about that for a second. What would it be worth if you could cut off your advertising budget because your people know how to prospect, you've got so much repeat and referral business that you just don't need to advertise anymore, at least pay for it? What would that be worth? Okay, so hey, we're in the home stretch. We're into step 4 now. Step 4 is daily practice or role play. Let me just tell you something. Role play is only awkward until you realize it works. All right. Here's what Grant has to say about that. If you're going to fail in your presentation, why not fail when it's just your fellow salesperson and not an actual buyer, right? I don't know what you spend in advertising. I don't know how much you're spending on driving traffic, but does it make sense to practice on a customer? Absolutely, positively not. Okay, so there's a couple different benefits of role play. Number one, we've already sort of touched on, is that you practice your material before you get in front of a customer, right? Like a sports team, a football team, would they try a brand new play, fourth quarter, tied game, 8-yard line? Probably not, right? If you're going to learn a new play, that's in the locker room. That's a practice. We discuss it. We demonstrate it. Then we go out in the field. We practice it. Maybe we do it in a scrimmage game. Then we put it in a real game. And we certainly don't put it when the game is on the line. We maybe try it a couple times first quarter where it's not so much of a risk. So the ability to practice your content, your material before putting it in front of a customer, that's huge. Okay, gets all the bugs out, right? And then the third thing is that it allows you to see, this is the unspoken part of this. This is where role play really comes into practice. This is where you really start seeing professionals that pop out from role play, is that you actually get to be the customer. You get to see it from their point of view. You get to feel it as a customer. You get to have that experience. And when you have that level of, some people call it tactical empathy, when you know what it's like to be on the other side, it helps you present from your point of view even better. Okay. So daily practice of role play. I can't stress enough how important that is. In fact, just take a look at this. Okay. This is Justin Hackelrod. He's an insurance broker, Allstate. He says at the management level, Justin implemented a daily sales meeting and incorporated role playing of difficult situations. So think about some of the difficult situations in your company, right? Just role play those out. In 90 days of following that program, daily role play, the production in the office increased by over 80%. I don't know what 80% increase in production would look like for you, but I'll bet it's pretty awesome, right? Okay, so here's what Justin said. I've seen a dramatic improvement in how the team, including myself, is communicating with our clients. And that's another really awesome piece of the puzzle, is that Justin got in there and did it with his team. Pretty cool, right? All right, so hey, now what? What are we going to do now? Okay, well, let's recap, right? Let's do that real fast, all right? So what's the first thing? We got the summary. It's accountability, okay? Hold your people accountable for getting a little bit better every single day, okay? With daily training that incorporates daily sales meetings and daily practice and role play. I cannot tell you how important the role play piece is to this puzzle. So the question I have then is, does this sound like an effective plan or an effective method for training your people? And the other thing to start thinking with right now is if you implemented the process, right, and you were able to do that every day, it took about 18 minutes, right, what's the worst that could happen in your organization? What is the absolute worst thing this could happen? Right now you haven't spent any money. You're just going to spend some time. We're going to implement this program, see what happens. What's the worst thing that could happen? But more importantly, like, if you implement the process, what would be your best case scenario? What's the end result? We talked about that earlier. Looking 18 months down the road, what's happened, right? Think about that for a second. So the question then is, well, would it be completely ridiculous if I was to give you 7 days free access to Cardone University and then showed you how to use Cardone University to implement these steps? Because here's a couple things about Cardone U that you might want to start thinking with. Number one, that sucker is accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from any internet accessible device. Now, what that means to you is that if you have a sales guy sitting at Starbucks at 10 o'clock at night and he hasn't sold anything in a week or so, he literally has a place to go now to get an answer. If you're managing, like, man, what am I going to talk about tomorrow in the sales meeting? You literally can go, if you can get online, you can access Cardone U and you can get a solution and you can get an answer, okay? Which leads me to this. Full tracking, reporting, and accountability. So since you can access it anywhere, if you're sitting on a beach in Costa Rica and you want to look at what your people are doing and training on, you can totally do that, okay? Also, it's designed for today's economic climate, right? It's a very different, the people shop and buy very, very differently now. And so the way we put Cardone University together is to actually make it easier for somebody to learn how to interact with today's buyer, okay? And it's relevant, obviously, okay? So the other piece of that is because it's relevant, because it helps you with today's buyer, because it's accessible anywhere, the program gets used. Over 45 million lessons delivered, okay? The number one reason somebody doesn't do this is that they don't think it's going to work. They don't think their people are going to use it. So when we talk, here's what I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over pricing options with you first. So while you're looking at the program, you're making sense of the investment, not wondering about it, because that could be distracting. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to work with you to make this program work. Okay. Then you get 7 days to use the program with your team so you can decide if it's right for you and your business. Okay. So if you want to take me up on that, I say let's do it, right? Obviously. Would love to partner with you, okay? You can get on my calendar, cardonesolutions.com/Cardone U. Go there, my calendar pops up. You plug in the date and time that works best for you. You want anybody else to be on that call with us? Totally fine. Happy to have everybody involved in the decision-making process participate in that call. Speaking of calls, you want to call me direct? My office line is 310-777-0352. Can't get me there? Hit my mobile. You can call it or text it, 818-427-5188. And then my email, it's just david@grantcardone.com. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time today. Let's partner up. Let's see if we can do it, okay? Thanks again for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day.